let's get started. All right, let's be honest. How many of you have opened up a dashboard expecting clarity and insights, and instead you see something like this? The dashboard on the screen is a perfect example of how you regret after seeing a dashboard. You see how the layout is confusing. There's colors all over the places. There are too many elements. So by the time you figure out your insights, your coffee is cold and your patience is gone. Well, this happens with me a lot of time. Now, take a look at this dashboard. A dashboard that actually makes sense, like no eye strain, there's no guessing games, pure, clean insights. Do you notice the difference between the previous dashboard and this dashboard? How this is properly spaced? It has a structure, it has a layout. The right charts are being used for the right data, and everything is clean and clear. Now, this is what we are aiming for. And the best part about this is it's not some data magic, it's just good design. So before you design any dashboard or report, you should have quick idea of the UI UX stuff, which I am going to talk about. Before that, quick introduction about me. Hi everyone, my name is Lakshmi and I love making dashboards less frustrating and more fun. I am a Microsoft certified Power BI data analyst, and I'm very passionate about visualization. I love creating innovative reports, creative reports. You can scan the QR, it'll take you to my profile, and you can see a lot of various dashboards out there, which I do as projects. Obviously, I cannot reveal the my organization's dashboard. So those are my passion projects. And I'm a regular contributor to the data community. I like speaking on events. I like sharing my knowledge, my tips and tricks that I use to save time. And I also write blogs on Medium. So anything I discover on Power BI, I tend to put it in a blog, step-by-step process. Quick examples are, say, if you want to create a lollipop chart out of a native bar chart, how you could do that just in 4 steps. So there are a lot of tricks which you will find in my blog. And I'm currently a product lead at the company called TrueWiz, and I do a lot of diverse responsibilities. Like I do market research, I make sure our product matches the industry standards. Apart from that, on a personal note, I'm a dog mom. I have a corgi, so if you see a dog walk behind me, you can just ignore him. And I love adventures. I love going on hikes. I'm a big foodie, and I am an advocate of diversity and inclusion. That means a lot to me. In the next hour, I'm going to share simple, no nonsense tips that will transform your dashboards and your reports from what's this to wow, that's amazing. Before that, I want to share quick 5 design tips that I keep in mind just in under 10 minutes. And then we will do a live transformation of how I transform a bad looking dashboard to a beautiful looking dashboard. So let's get started. Tip number 1 is avoid random placement of visuals. So avoid placing visuals as if you're throwing confetti. Don't place them here and there. No alignment, no structure. It just looks chaotic. This makes the users confused. The users work too hard figuring out where the data is. Their eyes are jumping all over the face. So what's the fix? The solution to this is employ white space and group visuals. Something which you see on the screen, right? You see how it's soothing to your eyes. You see how the visuals are grouped together. All the KPI cards are together. And then look at the white space. The white space basically gives you a breathing room. And always remember that white space doesn't mean it's wasted space. It helps guide the viewer's eyes, making insights even more clear. So remember that when you're placing charts, make sure you group visuals together logically. Don't just give them don't just throw them here and there just because you have space. Tip number 2, choose the right chart type. All right, let's talk about the biggest crime that I see on dashboards, people using the wrong chart type for a different type of data. So the advantages of using the right chart type is it makes data look beautiful plus meaningful. Quick example is on the screen. Both the visuals that you see on the screen show total sales by item type, but one of them is just wrong. On the left, you see there's a funnel chart. And you know, funnel charts are used when you want to denote a process or a stage, for example, a sales pipeline. But showing total sales is totally wrong and it's just confusing. But on the right side, you see you have a bar chart, which is clean and simple, and you can perfectly identify which item types have the maximum sale and which item type has the minimum sale. Another quick example is on the both side, we have total units sold by day. So basically a trend line. On the right side, on the left side, I have pie charts. You know, pie charts is, I know a lot of people do not like pie charts. That's because pie charts are basically used to show parts of a whole, but for showing the trends over time, not so much. On the right, you see you have a line chart, which is perfect for this data because it clearly shows you the trend over time. Easy for you to spot what are the increases, what are the dips, or you can even find out what the pattern is. Quick example is there are a lot of chart selectors which are available on the internet. Just go type chart selector. This is something which I like. This chart selector is by A. Abella. Easily helps you select charts depending on the data. So whenever you pick a chart, just remember, just pick one and stick to it. Remember to choose visuals that are appropriate to your data, not because it makes your dashboard look beautiful. Tip number 3 is avoid clutter. Have you ever seen dashboard that looks like you're trying to fit in all the data you have into one screen? Like there are a lot of visuals. The font is tiny. Sometimes the data is hidden. You have scroll bars all over. Instead of insights, people will just see clutter. So what's the fix? Limit the visuals and remove unnecessary elements. Notice how this version keeps only what's essential. There are no extra grid lines, there are no extra labels, no redundant visuals. They're just clean and focused. So here's a golden rule that you should always remember. Every visual on your dashboard should make sense or should serve a purpose. If it does not have purpose, does not add value, it's just adding clutter. So be a little ruthless when you're creating dashboards, declutter, simplify so that your data takes over. Tip number 4, avoid using too many colors. You've probably seen this rainbow explosion of colors that is happening. You see the reds, you see purple, you see pink all over the place. What happens is your brain as a human cannot process all the colors at once. And the result, the dashboard becomes more of colors rather than data. People start focusing on colors rather on data. And that's something we do not want to do. Quick solution to this is always use a consistent and a very limited color scheme. What happens is when you limit the color scheme, you let the data take the center stage. The key to this is use the colors very strategically. Use either to highlight something or something as a different color as a background and a different color in the foreground. This creates a visual hierarchy and makes the dashboard easier to remember. This way, what happens is the audience focuses on the data rather than the colors or the rainbow that you put. Quick tips. One, always limit the color palette. Just have 3 to 4 colors. That's more than enough. Maintain consistency. If you're showing positives in green, show positives in green throughout your reports. Do not change it to orange, pink, or purple. Contrast is key. Make sure the accessibility rules are maintained when you choose the colors. Don't use colors for decoration. Don't just use colors because they look good. Use only to highlight something or use them effectively. That's what I mean. The last tip number 5 is optimize for readability. That just means that you have to present the data in a format that your audience can grasp instantly. Don't make them work for it. This is a classic example, and this is something which I've seen people do a lot, and I really do not like it. On the left side, you see a KPI card which has a long number as a total profit 133,155,89. Let's be real. Who has the time to sit and read that quickly? You think, as a developer, you might think you've given precise data, but the reality is it's a little hard to read and even harder to digest. So on the right side, you see you have a KPI card, the same numbers being optimized. What happens is it's much clearer and easier to read. You don't have to squint, you don't have to guess whether it's 13 million or 13 billion. And also adding a dollar sign to it immediately makes it understandable. That's one quick example. There's another example here, which is a bar chart, which shows you total sales by item type. Things to notice here is you see how some of my labels are hidden. So basically, the users are now guessing what is house edge. Is it household or is it house health? And then you see how the font size is very different. Since the font size is more, there is a scroll bar which comes up here. And now, to be honest, I do not know what exactly these values mean. On the second chart, you see the same data. It's more clear and concise. We've added data labels so that the users don't have to guess. The font size has reduced a bit to accommodate all the item types in a single chart, and the size is readable as well. With this format, the audience can understand the data without having to guess or without having to squint their eyes. So this is pretty much the five golden tips that I follow. Let me quickly open up my Power BI reports that I want to show you. So do I have any questions on the way, or can I just start with the Power BI?
Can we go off mute and ask questions, or do we have to type it?
You're mute, Sue. You're mute, Sue.
Thanks, Fernando. Yes. So we've got someone had their hands up, and Sam asked, could he ask a question? But one or two so that we keep to the hour slot, because I know Lakshmi wants to go through. So if you've got a quick question about what she's just talked about, great. Just or pop them in the chat. Up to you. Who had the hand up? Someone had the hand up. Gone. No?
Yeah, hey, it audible, Lakshmi?
Yes, go on. Quick question.
Yeah, hey, Lakshmi. First of all, thank you so much for taking the time to, quickly present this. I'll be very quick here. There was some network issue in between. So would you mind if you can just showcase quickly the tip number one, if that is okay with you? Probably a glimpse of it. Just the tip number one. Yeah.
Yes.
And will this recording be available to us?
Yes, the recording will be on YouTube.
Okay.
And the link to YouTube is on the Meetup group. But you can find it under either search for my name or Devon and Cornwall Meetup group. And there was a question from Adrian just saying, how would you advise to handle the need for precision in visuals instead of truncating the values?
My suggestion to here is use maybe decimal points or reduce and format your data. So I just showed you here. Where is it? So instead of showing this huge number 133155889, showing it 13.32 makes more sense. But if you think you want to give a precise number, do it in the tooltip. So when the user is going to hover over the KPI card, he or she can always see the entire number.
Yeah, and we've got some, and also put some commas in there, make it easier for your audience. So if they're looking at it and they need to see it, put some commas in so it breaks it up. Yes, we will talk through Lakshmi's winning week number 4 when we get towards the end of it. But please, any questions, do put them in the chat. And we will get some insights, Rohi. Don't you worry. So I'm going to let you continue so that we'll continue to learn from you. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Sue, and thank you for your questions, guys. I will take all the questions at the end as well. So yes, so the visual that you see, the report that you see on the screen is very colorful, and as Takami has mentioned, yes, it's very colorful. But this is what I see most of the time on LinkedIn when people post dashboards like this. What we are going to do right now is, within the limited time that I have, going to transform this, what you see on the screen, to something like this. While doing that, I want to give you small tips and tricks that I use to, one, speeden up your time, and two, make it look pretty. And just to give a disclaimer, these are tips and tricks that I follow and I like. So what you see right now on the screen is a light theme. So I use very light pastel colors, but maybe there are people who prefer using a dark theme. Feel free to do so. But I'm just here sharing my tips and tricks. So the first thing that I'm going to do is replicate this screen, and I'm going to transform everything here right now. The first step I'm going to do is do a quick analysis, and I quickly see that I do not like the background here. quick way of improving your Power BI backgrounds is just open your PowerPoint, create a new screen. I just added a background color, a very light shade of lavender. And then I have a simple rectangle and I've changed the color to white. I've just put it here. When you are saving this, make sure you save it as a JPEG file. Once you save it, you have your background ready. I'm going to quickly edit out the background here. So going to canvas background in the image, I am going to browse through and choosing my background, setting it to fit. I got rid of the yellows. Next, I see there are random icons floating around here and there. So I'm going to remove all the unnecessary stuff, removing these icons for now because I don't really need those. The next thing is, as a human, and when you are creating a report, always remember that our eyes as human according to human psychology, goes in a Z pattern. So I am always going to start on the left corner and then go towards the right. Now, when you put a title in the center, the left side looks empty. So basically, I'm just wasting some of my memory out there. So I always try to put the title towards the left. So what I'm going to do quickly is left align it, change the color to a simple black, and I am going to remove this weird blue background from the back just by switching off my background. And then I'm going to reduce the size. Something like which I often do is enable the grid lines. So the grid lines help me make sure that maybe the visuals are centered or aligned. It helps me estimate the space that I have. So once I've done that, I have my title ready. The next thing I see is I have a slicer in the main portion of my dashboard, which I do not want. Slicers gives you an opportunity to filter out data if required. So I should not put it in the main dashboard. So what I'm going to do is just move it on the top. Now, since I told you it's an optional field where I am just uh, giving the user some giving the user a way to filter out data. So I don't want it to be shown too much. So I am going to just reduce the size. For reducing the size, I am going to reduce the size of the values, dragging and dropping it here. To make it look less obvious, I am going to change the background color to a lighter shade of gray. Let's just make it even lighter. And then I am also going to remove the background. So this, I've put a slicer here just to let you know that this is optional. Now you see that the users will, I mean, since I know this is my data model, I know these are years, but people might not. So I'm just going to quickly add in a text box saying year so that people know that, okay, this is a slicer which gives you uh, years. So I am just going to drag and drop it here. So now I have my slicer pretty much sitting there. Users can use it, cannot use it, is up to them. Now, the next thing what I see here is visuals lying around here and there. So you see, I have 4 main KPIs that I want to show, but some of them are on the top and some of them are at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is get rid of these 4 separate KPI cards, and I am going to use the new card visual that Power BI released and combine the 4 of these KPIs into one. And also quick thing to note is when you use the old card visual, you cannot add an image directly into it. So what we end up doing is either importing an image or just placing an image on it. So for now, I am just going to get rid of all these 4 KPI cards. And I am going to use the new KPI card. This is the new KPI card, just placing it here. I'm going to add in all the 4 measures that I just deleted. So it was total sales, total units, total orders, and total cost. Once you add it, you see that even though I added 4, there is only 3 present. That is because in the layout, my maximum cards is 3. So by default, it is 3. Quick thing to note here is do not, since I made a lot of dashboards, I pretty much know what my settings are. So that's why I'm doing it quickly. Once you practice this, even you will get that pace. So I'm quickly changing it to 4 and you see that all the 4 cards have come up. The next thing I'm going to do is you see how these the font size is too much, I'm going to go ahead and reduce the font size. The next thing also to notice is always stick to a particular font family. So I'm just going to reduce the font size to, let's do it 20, or we can even go 15. Great. After reducing the font size of the values, I'm also going to reduce the font size of the label. So the total cost, the total orders you see on the top, just going to make it 10. And then going to reduce the size a bit. Great. The next thing what I tend to do is I want to squeeze it in. I do not want a lot of white space above and bottom. So let's reduce the space between the labels as well. Great. The next thing, do you remember I removed the icons which were placed in front of all the KPIs? Now I'm going to add icons. Using the new KPI card, you can directly put in your icons here. So you have images. For if you're going to put the same image for all the KPI cards, you can just click on make sure the series is all and add in your images. But since I have 4 different measures, I'm going to put 4 different icons. So I'm going to choose first the total sales, and I already have the icons downloaded. So I'm just going to add it in, and I'm going to position it towards the left and going to reduce the size. Simple. I'm going to do the same thing with all the other KPIs, total unit, total orders, and total cost as well. So let's do total units, left side of the text, and reducing the size to 20. Total orders, left of the text, putting in an icon. And I'm sorry if the icons don't make sense. I just randomly downloaded them. Total cost, I'm going to place it on the left side and going to reduce it to 20%. Once you do that, you pretty much have a KPI card. Now remember point 5, which I told where I was mentioning about optimize for readability. That's what I meant here. When you see 14.108005, you have no idea what it is. So what I'm going to do now is optimize the values. You go to call out values and select that particular measure, which is total sales. And then in the display units, I'm going to select millions and going to add 2 points of decimals. So this is how you can using the display units value decimal places, you can easily format your values. And the best part to notice here is you are not formatting anything in your data model. Everything happens on the visual level. So that's a good trick that you people should follow. Do not go touch the data model so that it ruins something else. You can always do all this on the visual level. So now I have, let's just position it. Now I have a KPI card ready. I see that there is a black background here, which I do not want, a white background here, which I do not want. So I'm just going to simply remove it. Great. And let's just expand it. The next visual is this pink visual. The first thing, which is really annoying, is the pink color. So let's just get rid of the background. Let's change it to white. The second annoying thing is the borders that are there, which is too evident. Going to reduce the color and intensity, the width of it, and then going to place it somewhere here. Now let's talk magic. The first thing is title. When it comes to title, I always prefer having a title along with the subtitle, going ahead and changing the size. So always what I do is before I make a dashboard, I keep in mind that I'm going to have the title as size as 11 and all the subtitles as 8. So now I have my title and subtitle ready. You see, I have the y-axis. You cannot see anything right now because it was white previously. So I am going to go ahead and change the color, say, to something like this. The second thing you have to notice here is there are a lot of font families going on. Like you have Comic Sans. There is Arial as well. Like I mentioned before, make sure that you have a consistent font system going on. I am going to go and change it to Segoe. And okay, pretty much once you're satisfied with the y-axis, I'm going to go ahead to the x-axis. X-axis, I do not really want it because I have a bar chart. I can directly use my data labels. I'm switching it off. The next thing is data labels. You see how the data label colors are not really good. I'm going to go ahead and change that. Going ahead and going to change it to a different color. Italics is not required. And then remember, I told you about formatting data. So I'm going to go ahead and put millions, putting 2 points of decimals. Now I could see everything. Next quick thing, a tip that I want to give you is, if you think your chart is going to have a lot of bar charts, let's not have redundant bar charts everywhere. So I'm going to show you how you can quickly transform this native bar chart into a lollipop chart. A simple way of doing this is step one, go to bars, and under layout, you have space between categories, just go to the maximum. What happens is the bar chart becomes as thin as possible. The next step is to change a color. So let's put it, say this gray, or even if you want to go lighter, you can go to lighter too. After this, now the lollipop charts, remember, have the circles on the top. Here in Power BI, we have something called error bars. Go on to error bars and enable it. After enabling, use the same measure that you used in your bar chart, which is total sales. Once I add total sales, you see there are markers that have come up. The next thing you have to do is simply change the shape of the marker to a circle and probably increase the width. So you see how you can convert a native bar chart into a lollipop chart just by a few clicks. Once you do that, it's pretty much good to go. Now, to improve the functionality and usability of this, there are some things, a tip that you could use. The first thing is, instead of having the bars in the same color, probably you can highlight the maximum and minimum in a different color. Since it's sorted according to the total sales, you will always know that the top is the highest value and the bottom is the lowest. But imagine a user wants to sort the item type by the say item number. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he wants to sort it like that. That's when the highlighting the maximum and minimum will make more sense. But for just to show you how easy it is to do it, I am going to highlight the maximum in this particular chart. The way you do it is using the conditional formatting. So under bars, you have colors and you have FX. Click on FX and then choose the particular measure. And all you have to do is apply this particular rule. More than equal to 0% and less than equal to 100% has to be in gray. If you want a maximum value, that is, if it is 100%, choose a color and then click OK. So you see how the maximum is highlighted in a different color. If you want to highlight the minimum, all you have to do is choose 0% and then say you want to put it in red, you can do that too. For now, I do not really want to highlight my minimum, so I'm just going to take it away. Once you think you are pretty much satisfied with how it looks, a next quick thing is, when you're creating another visual, you do not have to repeat all the steps again and again using the formatting. Something which people avoid using is, which people forget using, is the format painter. All you have to do is click on the formatted visual, click format painter and click on your next visual. Pretty much everything will be formatted. So that includes your backgrounds and your borders. But sometimes Power BI, I think, has a couple of glitches which it ignores most of the times. So once I do that, you see the formatting has changed. Now it's time to think if you still want to go with a pie chart. Like I told you before, pie charts are something in a business case scenario, people use it when they have to show something as a part of whole. But here I want to see a trend. So I'm going to quickly switch to a bar graph. Another quick thing what I've seen people do is they just delete the chart and then they start making it from scratch. Do not do it. Just click on the chart and change the chart type. So these are tips I'm giving you to basically save time and not to do everything all over again. Once you change the chart type, you see how the formatting still remains the same, but a lot of, I mean, the pie chart has completely turned into a bar chart. Now you can just place it wherever you want, reduce the size. Now we're going to play around with a couple of formatting. For example, like I told you, I do not want the y-axis because I already have the data labels. I'm going to go ahead and quickly switch off my axis values, and then I am going to switch. Okay, this is great. Next, the data labels. When you see the data labels, you see, again, I'm going to optimize it for readability. The way you do it is go to data labels, go on to values, click on millions, and then do a decimal point of 2. One quick thing people might have in mind is, what if you change this in the data model so that you don't have to keep changing it again and again and optimizing it for readability? That's a good question that people have asked me in past. What I would suggest is, say your client has a requirement wherein he wants to see a detailed chart, say without without the optimizing for readability, and we wants to see one chart with 3 points of decimal and another chart with 4 points of decimal. If you go ahead and change, say in the data model, you cannot do it. So that's the reason why I keep changing it. I prefer keep changing it individually in the visual. So now once you think, okay, you're good to go, I think we can even reduce the size of the y-axis. It looks too, okay, great. So once you think you're ready with it, you can just place it anywhere. And next, let's talk about this particular visual. Now you see how total sales by order priority, even this is total sales by order priority. So there is a possibility maybe the user just duplicated it or did it by mistake. What I'm going to do right now is going to see what else. I'm going to replace the order priority by the item. Maybe let's do the sales channel. Now I want to format this again, going with the simple format painter. Using the format painter, I have this ready, reducing the size. Let's just increase it. Okay, I've reduced the size. Another quick tip here is when you have charts which you want to show next to each other, and you don't have to really squint your eyes, go in and wait for those red smart guides to come to align stuff. What you can quickly do is align one of the visual where you want to see, and then select both the visuals. Go to format, go to align, and just use where you want to align. Now, since I want it to be aligned according to this visual, which is on the top, I just do align top. You will see how the bottom visual automatically moved on the top. I'll just show it quickly again. So say I have two visuals like this and I want to align them together, just using the format feature, going to format, align, align top, it gets aligned. Another quick tip here is, say you want to space all the visuals equally. Now you see the space between my lollipop chart and bar chart is smaller than both the bar charts. What you can do is quickly click all of them, go to format, align, and distribute horizontally. What it does is distributes all the visuals horizontally with the correct spacing or with the equal spacing. So these tips will probably just help you save your time. I see a lot of comments about themes. Yes, I am going to talk about it. I did not do it in the beginning because if I change the theme here, it's going to change everything for me. I will talk about it once I finish with this. Now, okay, I'm also going to change the data labels here quickly because I see a large number which I do not like. Great. Now, let's talk about this tree map visual. I did see a comment where someone said they do not like tree map, but it looks really bad. And yes, I do not like tree map visuals because I do not really get data out of it. Here you see the total sales by month. Quick tip here, whenever you see anything related to date or time, always get line chart in your mind. That's the best way of showing a trend. What I'm going to do, instead of creating another new visual from scratch, just clicking on it and going to convert it into a line chart. Then I am going to use the format painter again so that I get my structure formatted. Now I have a formatted structure, just reducing the size. Okay, great. Now let's play around with the formatting. First thing, the data labels, as usual, I do not like these. I am going to change the display units. Perfect. I'm going to make sure all my data labels are above. Let's see if we can reduce the size. Great. Couple of other things you can do is I'm going to change the color of this blue to something that matches the theme of our report. So I go to lines, go to color, changing it to whatever I have used previously, and then reducing the width. Next, talking about markers, oh, sorry, this just went away. Add this, great. I'm going to add a shade area below it. This is great. And then I'm going to add markers, switching it on, reducing the size. Markers just help you understand. So if I'm going to look for Jan, you can just go up and see where is my marker. Helps you understand clearly what you're looking for. So now I have a line chart ready. Quick tips here is the reason I told you, whenever you have a time or date in your field, always use a line chart, because Power BI has something called reference lines, which you could use to enhance your report. For example, in the reference line option here, I can add a line where I'm going to show the average. So how you see here, how you have a min line, max line, average line, predefined in the visual. You do not have to sit and write a different code. I'm just hitting on average line. You see how automatically Power BI has calculated the average and has given me an average line. There are other formatting settings that you could do. Say you want to highlight the formatting line, say in a different color, you could do that too. So let's stick with a darker shade of blue maybe. And then you can change the size. Say you want to show the average line in a different style, you can do that. You can reduce the size, reduce the width, and you can even add a data label where you are mentioning that that is my average line. Okay, so I'm talking about the average line because this is something which I used in my database competition. So just sharing a quick tip and a quick reason why whenever it's daytime related, use a line chart. For now, I'm just going to get rid of this. Great. Next, we're going to play around with this. The first problem here is scroll bars. Whenever you make visuals, make sure you do not include scroll bars, because no one really has the time to go ahead and scroll and look for stuff. I am going to use this entire space for my table visual. Again, using my format painter, just hit format. It got rid of my background. Next, I see that there is a Comic Sans here, which I am going to change. So going to values and changing my font. After this, whenever you play around with the table visual, always keep in mind we already have presets for tables built into the visual. A lot of people do not really use this. So what I'm talking about presets is, say you have minimal, they have a particular preset, and then say you want flashy rows, they have particular presets. You want the data to be spread while you have sparse. If you are short on space, you can always use condensed. So always make sure to use these presets. Something which I use is minimal. What it does is gives a very clean look, and then I can probably do more formatting over it. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is get rid of the totals, going to totals, switching it off. And now let's start formatting it. The first thing, like I told you, the scroll bars. I do not want scroll bars. So think of ways you could get rid of it. The first thing that comes into my mind is get rid of these white space that you see in between. So what you can do is quickly condense it and get rid of the scroll bar, or make sure all my data is just fit into the table. So I am just, okay, great. I just got rid of the scroll bar. The next thing I'm going to do is I have a lot of white space in the bottom. So I'm going to spread my data. The way now, quick tip again here is you do not really have to remember all the properties that are present in each of these visual properties. Just think in English language and just think, what would you call it? You would call it spacing, or you would call it padding. And then just go ahead and type it here. Type it here. You will always get it. So now when you type spacing, it showed me title spacing. That is something I'm not looking for. Maybe type space. This is also something I'm not looking for. Type padding. Okay, great. I have row padding here, and then probably just increase the row padding. So this is a quick tip where I'm just trying to tell you that you do not really have to know each property. Once you play around with it, you will always have it in mind, and you can simply use it to search over here. Now I've spread the data. Let's next talk about the readability. Like I told you, there are long formatted data here, which I want to make it short. So in the table column, you have specific columns. So you can change formattings for specific columns. I'm going to go ahead and go to units sold. First, I am going to change the data format. The next thing to remember is my preference is whenever I have data in table and it's a number, I always format it as center aligned. I'm doing that here. And then I'm going to change the same for the total sales, aligning it in the center, changing the formatting data. And then I see my title is missing, switching on my title. Since I do not have a subtitle here, off. Then I want to get rid of all the grid lines. If you prefer to keep it, you could always keep it. Okay. Next, now I have item type, the column headers. I want to format my column headers, either make them bold or just add a lighter background, maybe. I'm just going to add a lighter background. Great. This is how you can format your table. Now you see that there is still more space in the bottom. In order to evenly space it out, I have a setting called padding, where I can simply increase the padding from the top, maybe from the side. Let's reduce it to, what it does is kind of evenly spreads it out. And maybe I can increase this and decrease. It's all trial and error. Once you keep creating lots of dashboards, it automatically comes in. The next thing I notice here is my title and my table is like stuck together. There's no space, there's no white space or breathing room. I am going to go ahead and increase the spacing. Yes, I did it. Now, when I see my table visual, it's not really giving me a lot of insights. It's just item types with a lot of data in it. What I would do is enhance my table visual. So Power BI has inbuilt features where you could add bars inside a table visual. For that, you have to go to cell elements. For example, let's pick this particular total sales and say you switch on the data bars. What happens here is immediately you'll see data bars coming inside it. Now, say you do not really like this blue going on here, you can always conditionally format it. For example, I'm going to go ahead with a lighter shade of gray and click OK and maybe get rid of the axis. So now what I can do here is when my table is aligned according sorted according to my item type, instead of me going through the data, I can always see that, okay, these two items have the maximum sales because they have the longer bars. So other quick tips here is you could even change the background color or the font color. Let me just quickly show you a demo. Coming to background color, once you switch it on, you see how it varies from lighter to darker. So basically just tells you, okay, this has the maximum units sold and this has the minimum units sold. So this is a quick way of how you can improve it. So this is pretty much it. So you basically took this dashboard to something like this just by following a few steps, few tips and tricks that I use. Coming back to the themes, you always, before starting a dashboard, you could always change the theme. For example, just go to view, go to customize your current theme. Now, when we're talking about visuals, you can always set a background, predefined background. Say, I'll just show you a quick demo of that as well. Say I want a tealish turquoise looking background, and then I always want a border as black, click apply. Now, what's going to happen is every time I build any visual, it's going to follow that particular setting that I did. This is a very, very good way of using themes. And the best part about themes is you can always save the current theme. For example, now you really like this particular theme. Let's ignore the Yeah. So once you think you are pretty much satisfied with the theme, all you have to do is go ahead and save the current theme. It will produce you a theme JSON file. Save it on your system, and whenever you're creating another report, upload the same JSON file, and you will see that all the settings have been changed. This is pretty much about how you can change. I mean, a very colorful looking bad layout dashboard, a report into a very good looking, consistent color theme dashboard. This is pretty much about it. Just sharing my screen again. Want to show you a quick tip that I follow is a quick summary that I want to share with you is to remember these for beginners, for freshers, is the acronym which I've created, which is GRACE. G stands for group visuals along with white space. R stands for choose the right chart type. A stands for avoid clutter as far as possible. C is choose a consistent and limited color scheme. And E is enhance readability. Just to show you how you can use this grace in this dashboard. The first thing here is, like I mentioned, the first is G, which is group visuals together. So you see how I had my visuals floating around. So the G stands for group visuals together. So now I have all my visuals together at one place. And the next is R, choose the right chart type. For example, here I told you, like whenever you have a date or time, it's always better to use a line chart. So I have a line chart here. That stands for R, which was choose the right type. A stands for avoid too many colors. So how the rainbow explosion turned into something consistent and clear. GRA is done. And then what was C? If I, sorry, just I got last. And then we had optimized for readability. Like I told you, instead of having large numbers like you see here, like you instead of having all these large numbers, make sure it is optimized. Make sure if it's a currency, make sure to add what currency you're talking about. Have at least 2 decimal points to make data more clear. That's pretty much about my session. Any questions? I am good to go.
Brilliant, thank you. I've captured some of them. We've been non-stop chatting in the chat, so lots of people sharing their own tips and tricks, and I love the way you recap the session at the end, so that you explained what you did, then you said what you were going to do, you did what you were going to do, and then at the end you added this beautiful abbreviation so that we can all remember. So, you know, as a teaching session, that was really great, as well as the tips and tricks. If you've got your Power BI report there, if you can just pop that up one moment, just to show Takshimi, you know, where you can hold on to the 3 little dots. So the 3 little dots at the top right corner to move it around. Can you just show her how? So, because sometimes it's difficult to actually grab hold of a visual. So whenever you've got the visual there, you've got, see those little 3 little dots. You can use that as an anchor. Takshimi, that was Takimi. That was what we used to drag things around. And like you were saying, Lakshmi, the format and align, I use that all the time. So you can get it into almost the right place. Then you can format and align, or you can go into the size. If you highlight 3 visuals at the same time, you can change the size in the properties so that they all then become that size. So there are some brilliant little, perfect, thank you. And if you round up the width and height, then that helps it as well. So I've got a couple of questions for you. Yeah, the 3 dots for dragging, Julie. Apps, I saw that a few years ago, and it's just all the time. Drag it everywhere, and then format and align and change the shape and everything. And if you're going to use themes, do it at the beginning. This is what I would say, because sometimes it's a bit like you've set up this beautiful report and then you think, oh, I'm just going to add a theme, and then it wipes everything, and you're like, oh, why did you? Yes. So for me personally, I do the theme at the beginning. But so question for you from Adrian was for optimizing for readability, which I think we touched on briefly, was what should you do when the data labels are too long, and how to show this as take up too much real estate. And of course we've discussed this, like you said, about adding the decimal points, but anything else you want to add into that?
That's pretty much it. I would suggest, if say you have data close to each other, just get rid of the data labels and make sure that you include it in the tooltips.
Yes.
And if you have a lot of space, just use this method that I used, round it to 2 decimal points and reduce the size, you're good to go.
Yeah, and the other one, tooltips is great, and you can customize the size of the tooltip page, because the other thing that I do with the tooltips, I put it into tooltips, and then I will customize the size of my tooltip page depending upon what I want to show. Ashmeet said, what guidelines would you follow for a light background theme? Is there anything that you would follow?
Yes. So, something that I do before choosing my colors is always go to the web contrast checker. And then here, what you can do is you have foreground and background colors, and it will tell you and show you how it exactly looks. For example, say, like I told, I'm picking a light colored theme, and if I'm also picking a light colored foreground, it's going to give me that the text is not really going to look good and it will fail all the accessibility rules here. So you can use something like this where you can go ahead and always check the contrast and see if it's good and if it's accessible for all categories of people. And this also works the other way around. For example, you're going for a dark theme and you tend to pick a gray. This is how it will look on your system and it's not
Yeah.
really accessible. So you can just play around here and find out and see, okay, if this is what you want.
Yeah, perfect, brilliant. And we have a session in 2 weeks from Juliana Smith, who delivered a session for us a couple of years ago on Primavera and P6, and she is a huge advocate for accessibility. So anyone that's interested, in 2 weeks we have a whole session on everything to consider about accessibility. Rohit said, and apologies everybody, I'm terrible with names, I do try. So he said, can you share the insights from the Power BI Viz that you did that helped you win the championship, or helped you become one of the finalists in the World Power BI Championship? And what if you have to pick one or two techniques, what do you think is the thing that really helped you? And I love the fact that you use Medium. I'm in ChatGPT all the time, and I just think I really do need to capture the things that I learn from ChatGPT to share.
Yes, absolutely. So regarding the insights, I've written down a blog, I've put it in the comments. So the
Star.
Yeah, so coming to the first thing, what I would say is, so I have participated in all the 4 weeks. So I started from week 1, week 2, week 3, and then after week 3, I was almost going to give up. I was like, why do it when I'm not winning? I did not win the last 3 times. But then
Oh,
somehow, like I had a motivation that let me just finish this challenge. What if I have 4 beautiful reports that I can add to my portfolio? And that's how I just got into the 4th challenge and I became a finalist. So the first thing
brilliant.
was I never gave up. And also, like another quick thing is I had a routine that I followed. So the data viz challenge, how it worked was we were given a data set and then we were given just a week to submit it. So I structured my data where, say, on the weekend, just when I was running around with chores, I was going to think what I'm going to talk about. So the 4th week was nature or climatic changes. Something which I came to my mind was climatic changes. Let's talk about global warming and stuff. On Monday, I sat, played around with Kaggle, found out a lot of data sets, and finalized my data set. And I was sure that this is what I'm going to do. On Tuesday, I designed a wireframe, and I have another article on how you can wireframe within Power BI. You can find it in Medium. So I created a wireframe. I'm going to put my KPIs here. I'm going to have 3 pages and all that. And then I also finalized what colors I'm going to use, what are the images I'm going to use. So basically, Wednesday and Thursday was when I sat and put my heart and soul into the dashboard, used the format painter a lot, used all the tips and tricks that I shared with you guys. So Wednesday and Thursday was all about building the dashboard and refining everything. And then just Thursday night before going to sleep, I would submit it. So this, and on Friday, I used to be free. I used to check out the other entries, leave little likes and comments. So I had an organization. So that's something which helped me really. On the Power BI side, I would say practice, 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 and practice. That's how you can that's how you will know what are the functionalities in Power BI. So yeah, I hope that answers your questions.
No, that is absolutely perfect. And they say that the difference between someone that is successful and achieves is someone that keeps trying, that doesn't give up and keeps trying. And it's, you know, anyone that knows me knows I'm a marathon runner. And it's because you just keep trying, you turn up, you practice, you know, and it's the same with Power BI and data. You learn from each other, and going on and on the Friday and looking at other people's, you get a better understanding of what it's taken if you've done it yourself, because you're like,
Yes.
I was trying to do that. How did they do that? And, you know, I was fortunate. I was into Power BI during lockdown. And so there were lots of competitions. I mean, Marco used to put up a DAX puzzle every Saturday for us. And
Okay.
so, you know, but it's that perseverance and consistency. And there was another question. I think Ashmeet said, what order do you follow for storytelling of the metrics? So like, and we did talk about it in the chat, but, you know, profitability or sales or orders or...
Okay, to be honest, the data which I showed you right now was just for designing. I mean, nothing in that data really makes sense. You will not be able to find major insights from that. But so since this was just about data designing, dashboard designing, UI and UX, I had very simple data, especially for freshers and beginners. I didn't want to overwhelm them with sales by year over year and stuff. So I had a very simple data set. But the best thing what you can do for storytelling is pick what you want to talk about. For example, let's talk about an HR data set. You have an employee data set. Just pick one topic. Say you want to talk about employee retention. So just talk about, these are my total employees. These many are still staying. These many left. If people are staying, what are the reasons they're staying? How many people are staying for what reason? Then go for a gender analysis. What maybe flexible work hours make women stay more than asking them to come to office. So what I'd say is, when you're coming to a storyline or trying to find out insights, stick to one particular thing you want to find out from your entire data set. I think that pretty much works for me.
Yeah, definitely. Anthony and I said exactly the same. I think we answered the question at the same time. We must have been typing at the same time, but we both said, you know, but it really, really does depend upon this, you know, the report and the question that you're answering as to, you know, which takes precedence. We have it's 7 o'clock on the, look at that, excellent timing as well. Any last questions for Lakshmi before she goes? Oh, hope we visit India. I'd like to come. I have been to India once. I'd love to go Ashmeet again. It's a fabulous country. I did go on Takimi. You've got a couple of minutes. I know what you're like. You'll start chatting, and then we'll be here forever. She wants to ask. So Takimi, who's lovely, and she is one of our most our most supportive and amazing attendees, who has just grown in strength and confidence, I would say, Takimi. So she wants to ask you about your colourful graphs.
Yes.
Oh, do you mean the scatter chart plot to showing the temperature trends?
Yeah.
Great. I'll show you. I don't know, somehow it came to my mind, but I'll just quickly show you. So what I did initially was, say I have a bar chart like this. So when I went, I chose the colors. One second. So what I did was just randomly chose colors here. One second. For example, let's set colors like the previous, like if you have 0% to less than equal to 100%, choose this color. Or let's do 50%, choose this color. If it's more than 50%, then choose this color, click OK. So you see how I have two colors. Now I just converted this directly to a line chart. So when you convert to a line chart, you see the markers colors still remain the same. And then I just went to the line chart and changed it to a white. So that way what happened was my marker colors remained the same, but my line just vanished. And that's how you will get the colorful chart. Hope that answers your question.
Takimi? She says, oh no.
Yes, yes, it is. It's really
You did?
beautiful.
Okay.
I didn't imagine that you did it like this, but it's really so creative. I thought you did a denim or something.
No, no,
honest. No.
no, it was all. So everything you saw on my dashboards are all native charts that I've used.
And did you use for the ones with the visuals that where they go from blue to is that where you use the gradient, a nice use of
Yes,
gradient?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. That was the gradient. Yes.
It looks
I
very
could.
effective like that, doesn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Wow, thank you very much for sharing your knowledge. I want
Yeah.
to create the one on my report one day to practice.
Yes,
Wonderful. Thank
you should. You
you.
should. No
Yeah,
worries. Thank you
and
so
you've
much.
put all your techniques on Medium.
Yes.
So yeah,
I.
Anthony shared that in the chat, so that we should
That's great.
get that. Any
Great.
last comments, Anthony, before we go? Because he's on mute.
No, nothing from my side. It's just I thought that was really,
Brilliant.
really, really good, and so like simple to just go from there, and very powerful to go from there to a nice cleaned up report. And that's what I just loved about it. So really, 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 really good presentation.
Yeah,
and I love
it
your
was
acronym
lovely.
at the end.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes.
That's one to remember. I just love this. I love the coloring on here. This is just so nice.
Yeah, I never use gradient, but seeing it like that, I think I could imagine, when you would use it. I popped in the SQL BI data visualization course, which I did, oh God, too many years ago. And it was, it's so funny because you've got to listen, because their comments about visualization, and I think one of them, Alberto is Italian, was bemoaning that it was because it was French, and so it's a really, really it's a very humorous course to sit and do, because obviously they're renowned for their DAX, but this is something different, and it's there's quite a lot of it that's free, and it is very, very funny. So I would say definitely. So I've popped our YouTube channel in again. Yep.
Sorry, I just want to
Anthony.
make just one comment for other people. Is one of the key things is, as Lakshmi had said, consistent coloring. Is look at her 3 charts on there. Is that there's the same color consistency on there? Is that you've got your purple or your blue all the way through to your yellow, and it's used on all 3 charts. I've seen other charts where people use one gradient on the one chart, another one on the other chart, and a different one on the other chart, or coloring legends and things like that. Is keep them consistent on a page, because often people will associate a color with a certain legend, text and things like that, or category or whatever. So that's really, really important to do that as well.
Yeah, and I've seen one where they kept swapping previous year and current year shades of blue, and you're like, why would you make it, keep the template the same if possible, and like Anthony says, and the colors the same. And so Ashmi, is it possible to share this PBIX file? We have, if you send it, I'll pop it in the GitHub and the GitHub, Ashmit, is on the meetup page. If you have a look, it's in the notes there. Anthony, fabulous. Thank you for your links. As always, you were on fire, dishing them all out. So thank you, everyone. And next week, good luck. We will all be rooting for you. You've got some stiff competition, but I think you've got this. And it'll be brilliant, and lots of fun. And it's Vegas. Are you going, Fernando? Fernando's just asked if I was. I'm not going. I went to Napa Valley earlier this month. I can't do Napa and Vegas. but we will
Okay.
send you huge good luck. And thank you everyone for joining, and it's yoga time. And I'll pop this onto
Have fun.
YouTube, and we will see you all next week. Next week we've got Databricks, so we've got Lipsan, I think the name is, taking us
Yeah.
through Databricks, which is going to be absolutely brilliant. So that's going to be quite a techie session, but it should be very good. And then the week after we've got accessibility, so some nice ranges there. Good luck. We have we've got you, and we'll be sending positive vibes. All right, take
Thank you,
care,
Lakshmi.
everyone.
Don't
Bye,
forget
and
to stop
thank you.
recording, Sue.
Oh yeah, thank you. I
Thank you,
forget
Lakshmi.
every time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks
Bye,
all.
everyone.
See you
And-
soon.
and,
Bye,
Cheers
everyone.
all.
yeah.